After failing to keep his seat after the 2022 season, Mick Schumacher is officially signing with a team that is actually very familiar to his family name. Let's get right into it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Formula One Digest. I'm your host, Tyson Da Silva, reacting to some crazy news about Mick Schumacher is signing with the Mercedes Formula One team. That's right. The Mercedes team is now going to have a second Schumacher as part of their team. Of course, Mick failed to get a seat with Haas after losing out to fellow German driver Nico Hulkenberg. It was announced right before the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix that he would not be returning. And it was very up in the air as to what he might do because all the seats are now filled for the 2023 season. And a rumor that had been speculating since as early as the start of this past season was that Mick would potentially go to Mercedes. These rumors were, of course, speculating because Lewis Hamilton was rumored not to return. But after Lewis did, those rumors were quickly removed, and Mick Schumacher was supposed to stay with Haas, and that was what people thought. But then in a questionable move by the Haas team, they signed Nico Hulkenberg to a deal, and Mick Schumacher is currently out of F1. And this news now comes as he signs with Mercedes, and this is really exciting if you're an F1 fan because another Schumacher is getting a stint with a better Mercedes team than they were when Michael Schumacher raced for them. And I think what's cool is that he's going to get a similar opportunity to Alex Albon, where he's going to be a third driver and will be serving in a reserve role for the 2023 season. He'll be at all the races and everything. The hope, I'm sure, for Mick is that he can kind of emulate what Alex Albon was able to do, where he took a year off and then managed to get a multi-year contract with another team. So in Alex Albon's case, he went to Williams. For Mick Schumacher's case, he very well could get a Mercedes C, but we're going to get into that a little later. But yeah, it's really exciting, and we do have a quote from Toto Wolff where he does say that he really likes Mick and he deserves a chance. Having a year off as a third driver can be good to reassess yourself and hopefully find a seat again. I 100% agree with what Toto is saying. I think that Mick, even though he had improvements this year, I don't think it was enough for any team to want to take a risk on him, and maybe taking a year off will give him the opportunity just to maybe just better prepare himself and train with one of the best drivers in the history of Formula One, and maybe he can become that complete driver that people thought he would be coming out of F2. And of course, as we just briefly mentioned, he could replace someone at Mercedes, and it certainly isn't going to be George Russell. That's right. The question is Mick Schumacher in line to replace Lewis Hamilton? We've briefly talked about how Mick Schumacher could go to Mercedes and be Lewis Hamilton's replacement if he decided to retire. But now I wonder if Toto has a plan to keep Mick in the fold until Lewis is done and have Mick replace him should Lewis call retirement in the next year or so. This is really hard to judge overall because Lewis has stated that he has no plans on leaving F1. He would like to stay for multiple years, which could mean anything, but I believe I saw a quote saying that he wants to stay for 5 more years. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if Mercedes will want to have him. I think, that the relationship they have with Lewis kind of goes over any promises Toto has made to Mick. I think it would be an absolute outrage if Lewis Hamilton were to lose his seat to Mick Schumacher. But I think this is a way for Toto to have a bit of insurance in case Lewis does decide to hang up the racing boots and his steering wheel and the helmet at the end of the 2023 season. I don't think it is going to happen, but it is something to consider. And honestly, I think that he could potentially thrive in a role with Mercedes. They're a championship team. It's a better situation than what Haas was in. Obviously, Haas is a team that is still looking to really be a force. They have some races where they look really good and other races where they're at the back of the pack. So we're definitely going to have to see what happens with Mick Schumacher and Mercedes, and I'm so excited to see what really comes out of this. I know we have to wait probably another year, but I think what's going to also kind of add a bit of drama into this season is that Mick Schumacher is not going to be the only third driver that's going to be looking for a seat. We have Daniel Ricciardo as well, who recently signed with Red Bull as their third driver. And for all we know, him and Daniel could be competing for the same seat should one be made available. So, and not to mention there are other racers in F2 that are going to be looking to get a seat of their own. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how everything plays out. I love the move for Mercedes, and I think it's a smart move overall. It gives them good insurance. And who knows, if there's an issue with Lewis or George and they're not able to race, we could see Mick Schumacher race in a one-off race with Mercedes, and I think that would be really cool to see. And it's going to be interesting to see how the season plays out for him. So until then, guys, you guys are the best if you've made it this far. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will see you guys in the next video.